Do you ever get to the point where you never finish your homeschooling schedule on time to enjoy the vacation that you desire to enjoy as a family? Or maybe you just don't really have the opportunity to understand how to fully implement the plans that you've created, and you're just struggling with good habits that put your plans into action. If so, I hope you invest the next 20 minutes or so with me as I share with you some tips on how to build habits in your planning. I'm Dollie Freeman. I am the founder and owner of the Charlotte Mason Mastery, and I'm excited to have you on today's show. Today's a special show. We used to call ourselves the Charlotte Mason Way Show, and we have rebranded. The reason we rebranded is because really what I teach is mastery as Charlotte Mason, not just embracing a few things here and there, but my desire is to equip you as a Charlotte Mason parent to be able to raise self-educating children. And with that, it requires a little more of understanding of the parenting and educational philosophies founded inside Charlotte Mason's original pages of her series that would help you to understand how to master. So let's get started with today. I'm going to get this off the screen. Today's topic, I'm going to be sharing with you the planning habits of a productive homeschool mom. And let me just tell you, y'all, it's really difficult sometimes, depending on how many children you have, the ages of your children, the other demands in your life, as well as what we put on ourselves and what we think that we can do or what we think we can't do. And it all comes down to the fact that when you have good planning habits, when you have the habits instilled in the mindset of planning for the purpose of implementing those plans, everything changes. And I'm going to tell you, over the 22 years of homeschooling with the Charlotte Mason Way, I'll have to tell you that I've experienced up and downs in my years. I have struggled with health issues from years to years. I've had a difficult pregnancy and birth. A child had some health issues. My parents have had major health issues. There's been a lot of roller coasters on the personal side, but I want you to know that never have I ever gotten to the point of what we set as our end of school year and never had our homeschooling done. So I looked at myself and thought, well, how do you do this? When I hear of other people saying, oh, we're going to have to continue in the summer, we haven't quite gotten all of that done, we're going to just pick it up next year, those types of things. And I'm thinking, how do I do that? How do I make sure that we accomplish our homeschooling plans, even if life gets in the way? So if that's where you're struggling, I want you to know I have some tips for you today, and I hope that you're going to be able to stay to the end because I have something very exciting to a lot of you. For those, stay active, stay interacting, that guarantee you're going to want to do that. Okay, so how about we dig deep? Let me know where you're struggling in these points, and I'd love to help you at the end of the show. All right, so our first one. So to have planning habits for a productive homeschool mom, you must plan your schedule. Okay, so what does that look like, Dolly? Well, you have to know key things about your homeschooling. Start date. When are you going to start? We're really good at that. We usually know a month or two in advance exactly when we're going to start and the exact time of the day we're going to start. But do we really know the end day? Have you really made it a habit in yourself to say, you know what, we're going to end on this day? And just like any other calendar that you put a date on, you're going to be very particular about those, making sure that you have everything you need in your tool belt, so to speak, as a Charlotte Mason mama to make that date happen. And so I'm going to just tell you the fact that I put a date on the calendar of our end day, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we get it done, regardless of what happens in life. So let me tell you a couple more things. I also plan week offs. Do you do that, mama? Do you look at your calendar and say, okay, we're starting here, we're ending here? Do you ever go through and say, okay, we're going to take these weeks off, we're going to take this week off, or I'm going to go away on this week? Have you done that yet? Have you looked at your calendar and said, these are our weeks off? It's going to look different than our normal homeschooling schedule. It could be absolutely no academic books. It could be a vacation where you may be able to put some learning in it, but it looks different than your normal week, with the focus of not having academics as the focus there when I say week off. A third thing that I do when planning your schedule is that you want to plan your daily structure. All right. When I say structure, I'm talking about the start and end of your day. I'm not talking the end of your school day. I'm talking about having a start of your day where your kids know you can sleep in as long as you want, but you have to be by this time. And then you also have the end time, meaning there is a bedtime. Children learn better. Attitudes are better, focus is better when they're getting enough sleep. The same is said for mama. If mama doesn't get enough sleep, kids don't get enough sleep, there's a reason you have endless friction in your home. So I want you to think about the daily structure. How are you going to plan that day and what's it look like? What's the beginning and the end? So you do that for your year and you do that for your weeks, when you're going to take off, when you're going to make sure you're doing school, and then you do your daily structure when you start school and when you're ending the day, when feet have to hit the floor and when heads have to hit the pillow. All right, number 2. The second thing that you want to do for your planning habits to be a productive mother is to plan a full year curriculum. When I say a full year, yes, I'm meaning a full year. Every subject, every lesson plan, everything done for a full year for every age school child. Now, I know that probably overwhelms you, especially if you have many children like some of my clients do. But the fact of the matter remains, I have tried it both ways. And both ways I shouldn't say both ways. I think I've tried it 3 different ways where we planned as we went. And I just took notes as to what we did. I planned quarter by quarter, or term by quarter, or term by term, whatever you want to call it. And then I've done the full year spectrum. Now, yes, we've gotten all of our plans done by the end of our school year as I have planned, but the outcomes were different. The result was completely different. How my children took ownership of their education looked differently. How I felt inside looked differently. So when I say to plan a full curriculum, let me tell you what that looks like. You're going to first look at your subjects to cover. What are you going to require each of your school-age children to learn in that given year? Then, when you're done looking at the subjects that you're going to cover, I want you to then think of the focus subjects that you're going to be focusing on day by day. So we focus on 5 subjects during the week. Monday is history, Tuesday is nature, Wednesday is geography. So you get my point. Thursday is literature. So you want to assign a day for every subject. And when you're in elementary, it works beautiful. When you get into high school, there's some tweaks you have to make because there's more requirements that have to be appeased to for the homeschool laws and getting accredited hours. But what the thing of the matter is if you just structure your day that way, it makes it so easy. The kids get into routines. They know what day and what books to cover. It makes it very smooth. So if you look at that way, you first do your subjects, then you do your day, your focus day. What subject are we going to focus on each day of the week? And then you break it down to your daily requirements. What are your lesson plans look like? And then you make sure that every subject has detailed plan. I plan one subject at a time. I don't jump all over the place. So when I'm done with one subject, I move to the next. Now, let me tell you something, mamas. I have homeschooled for 22 years. I have planned, I should have done that math. I hate doing math on live. I'm really good at it, but I stink on live. But I have graduated 3 children already and have graduated them with excelling abilities. In addition, I am in our end of our 5th grade with the other ones. I've planned quite a many lesson plans. And what I want to tell you is that when you do that, you are truly giving your children the ownership of their education, but also you get faster at doing it, mama. So when you sit down and you work really hard at making planning a priority and a habit, and you keep doing it a certain way every time, as long as it works, as long as it gets results, and you keep doing that, you're forming habits that make it easier the next time. So I say that to say that when I get my kids into high school, I literally take 8 hours on a weekend and I plan an entire high school year in 8 hours. Now, needless to say, you throw meat before you come into you throw chocolate before you come into my room of where I'm working. My family serves me food. They leave me alone. They keep me hydrated. They know mom is in brainstorming. And as soon as mom's done, it's back to family time. So I get up early. I, make sure that we have everything planned for the day, and I go in on it. And I do the same thing with elementary. It's just high school can be overwhelming. And I'm telling you, when you have a framework in place, you can get those habits put together really quickly to get to that result. So then all of a sudden, planning a full year doesn't seem as bad. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And I'm telling you, your homeschool years are going to be so beautiful by the time you're done that you're going to say, why didn't I do this sooner? This is the way to homeschool. And I know that these habits that I've built has been the reason why we've never gone a day beyond what I had planned for our end of our school. But in addition to that, we usually get done a week or more in advance. Now you may say, Dollie, how do you do that? Wait a second, I don't understand. Well, let me tell you, depending on your state laws, some require 180 school days or 36 weeks of education. What I realized in our area is that you need to, the public school requires 80% of the curriculum completed by the end of the year. So instead of doing 80% of the curriculum, I require 100% of the curriculum finished, and we do it in 80% of the time. Now, we also take our summers. We make sure there's lots of learning experience in the summer. It just looks different. It's not like pure academics. We still are reading. We're still working on our oral math. We're still doing things that need to be done to keep the brain fresh, but we're adding different elements. We focus on handicrafts. We focus on physical exercise. We focus on learning new skills. So it looks different for us in the summer, but we are truly adapting that lifestyle of learning. So that's what I want you to focus on. Okay, number 3. To have the planning habits of a productive homeschool mom, you need to plan for interruptions. Interruptions are part of our day, mama. I'm telling you, if you plan for those interruptions, you will do better. You will be mastering this whole thing of what it looks like to homeschool. So what does that look like? What kind of interruptions? Well, there's different types of interruptions. They're behavioral, right? Those require character training. Those require parenting philosophies to get over those behavioral ones. I'm not talking about those, although those need to be addressed. But planning for interruptions. Let me just talk to you a little bit about what I mean by that, and then it will help you to understand. So the first part that you want to plan for interruptions is substitute resources. Mama, there's days we're tired. Our feet hit the floor and we want to just crawl right back in bed. And sometimes we have physical issues. We have, our menstruals. We have things that just get us to the point where we just sometimes can't serve our family like we normally would. And a regular teacher would call in and say, I need a substitute today. So I want you to plan for substitutes. What can you provide for your children in place of you that would still allow them to be educating, still be learning, still be delighting in something? It doesn't have to be big. It can just be something that's different, that will allow mom a little break, a little rest. And this is so important for mental. Now, here's the thing. If a substitute teacher keeps doing your job for you, you lose your job. So never put a substitute teacher in a place where that you can come back in, unless, of course, it makes sense for your family. But a substitute resource or something that's going to take the place of a day or 2 or 3. You're just going to say, okay, this is what we're going to do instead of this. And then you go back to regular routine. What I have loved is audiobooks. There's when your child is not reading yet or they're struggling to read, audiobooks give you a break. And I'm telling you, I've been reading this one book for Manoah at the beginning of this year, and it seemed dry to him. His narrations were good, but they weren't like lively. And this child can narrate lively. So when I'm not having the really lively things around science, when I know he loves science, kind of like, So I decided to put that book on audiobook for him. And when he started to read or listen to it, he started laughing. And I'm like, what book are you listening to? And he told me, and I'm like, you never laughed when I read it. And there were times that there were different readers for the science book of the storybook of science. And he's like, Mom, I really don't like this reader. And so thankfully they switch pretty quick. So he knows that certain voices he just doesn't like, but that's what you want to do is find some substitutes, Mama, and plan for that. So those days you have down, it's not like I can't homeschool today. I just don't have it. No, you have a plan and you back it up. All right, and the second part that you want to plan for interruptions is supplement resources. What I mean by supplement resources is things that you can draw from. Let's just say you've started a school day and your things are a little not the same. Maybe you're having behavioral problems with a child. You can quickly substitute with a supplement versus a complete substitute. It's a little bit different mindset. So it's filling in the gaps where maybe, or even filling more than a gap. It's, lightening up a little bit more. Perfect example is we were reading, let me think of what book it was, Seabird. And we came across the fact that in Seabird, they were doing whaling. And we found a documentary on whaling and we got to watch it. And that was supplemented. And I knew it was going to come up. And so I saved it on our television. And I said, whenever we get to that part, we'll watch that. That's not something I'd put in our plans normally, but it's a supplement. So on the time that we're just having really bad behavioral days and Mom needs a little bit of a break, we can still stay on topic, but just supplement a little different. Okay, then here's the last part that you want to plan for your interruptions is sick days. I don't know about you, but we have been down as a family for 2 to 3 weeks. One time we had croup. All of my kids had croup and they could not get off the couch. And homeschooling was not going to get done. They could not function. They were really sick. So we had breathing treatments constantly. We had medication to do. We had sleep we had to catch up on. Mom was exhausted because all 4 kids were sick with croup. It was a pretty stressful time to say the least, but we were all sitting down. We were all held captive in our living room. So that's when my sick day resources came out. I had a whole series of science, several of them, and we just kept pulling them out, and we just had weeks and weeks of science. And then I pulled out some history that I had saved on the television recording, and we pulled them and we started listening to history. Occasionally I would pick up a book and say, let me just read to y'all. So that's what I mean. It's not necessarily what you plan, but when you're having sick days, you may as well plan for those interruptions. It happens to all of us. And a lot of times when it happens in a family, it happens to all of us. So plan for that and make it easier for you. And then just make a change in your plans and say, this is what we did instead. And just make those edits and be fine with that. And so that is how we have been able to make sure that we hit a productive year each and every year for 22 years, never missing a day of saying our school ends on this day, which our kids look forward to. They absolutely love the end of school. And so here's the 3 parts. You're going to plan your schedule. You're going to plan a full year curriculum, and you're going to plan for interruptions. And then at the end of the year, enjoy it. Make it a big thing. My kids burn their math book, not their test books, but their math books. They have a bonfire and they burn those. They just cannot wait to burn their math books. So have a little bit of the celebration in that. All right, I have a resource. If you are really stuck with planning, I have something that will help you. And it's called the Charlotte Mason Planning Bootcamp. It's starting Monday, y'all, and I cannot wait. There's 5 full days where I am just pouring into you my 22 years of experience, my framework of what it is that I do and how I can plan so quickly and be so effective in what I'm planning for our children. All completely about Charlotte Mason. So what I want you to do is go to charlottemasonmastery.com/bootcamp. If you have yet to register, it's free. It's 5 days. We start on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and it goes through Friday. You're going to want to plan an hour each day, except for Friday, plan for 90 minutes. And then you have these resources. This year is the first time I've brought in a hub. I'm so excited because I spend so much time finding the links for people and help them to get to the replays. Well, all the replays are going to be happening inside this hub. It's one location. It's easy, and it's just really makes it so effective for you and for me to be able to find these. There's a community, and I have your workbook to help you. This year, I've added some assignments that you and your husbands can talk over and create perspectives based on each other's input. And then thanks to Honey Bigelow, she gave me an idea. And so I put it into action yesterday. It's the Kids Idea Bootcamp, where they're going to be learning the same topics as you are, and it'll help you to clear up that hour each day and 90 minutes on Friday with giving your children ideas that support what you're learning. And it will be an awesome opportunity to open up the doors to speak with your children about what you're learning as well. So if you have yet to register, go to charlottemasonmastery.com/bootcamp. It's going to be fun. All right. Let me get into the comments. Well, hello, Elizabeth and Gabby. Gabby, hi. I haven't seen your name in a long time. Welcome back. Let's see, Stephanie and Amanda. Amanda, I haven't seen your name in a while, so welcome back as well. And Jessica and Mora, I'm sorry. And Honey, you're on as well. So welcome. And Denise, a lot of, and Jessica as well. Well, wonderful. Well, I have some exciting news I'm going to get in the comments in a moment, but let me share something. The first comment today is Elizabeth. Because you interacted today and you were the very first comment, you are going to be rewarded an additional 1 month free of Smooth and Easy Days, which is launching April 1st. It is a membership. And I'm so excited about this. I'll tell you more about it later. I just want you to know everyone gets 1 month for free. But Elizabeth, you just got a second month for free just for commenting. So thank you very much. I'm so excited about that. I love comments, y'all. It just helps to know I'm not talking to a screen. All right. So tell me if you've already enrolled in the boot camp. I'd love to know if you've already enrolled. If you have, I want to know your experience. Let other mamas know if it's worth their time or not. So post that in there. Gabby, hi, so happy to see you live. What a crazy year. Thank goodness for your hub support. I'm so glad. You should have gotten an email yesterday. I think, Gabby, you were on one that went through. So I'm glad you're in there. I'm glad you're back. And I'm sorry it's a crazy year, but it has been a crazy year for everyone. I'll just tell you, I'm going to have a side note here. I was just telling my husband this morning on our way back from morning prayer. I was telling him, you know what? I am more excited about spring this year than I ever recall being excited about it. I said, I think it's the doom and gloom that has been going on in the world that I just can't wait for the new colors. I cannot wait for the spring air and the fresh smells that spring brings. And we're driving down. I'm starting to see dogwoods. I see daffodils. I see cherry blossoms coming, and I just get so excited. So be watching for your spring, ladies, because I'm telling you, it's there, and you might need it as much as I do, but I need color right now. I need beauty. Stephanie, glad to be here. Yes, I'm so glad. And Amanda, I always plan out my homeschool year and it always ends up falling apart for me. Oh, Amanda, it breaks my heart, but you are not alone. This is so true for so many mamas. And a lot of it is because we don't really know how to implement. Some of it has to do with our habits. I had someone say, I planned the perfect Charlotte Mason year, and then everything gets in the way. Well, those everything that gets in the way is our jobs as mamas to fix with habits. So just focus on habits and it will get there. I want you to know that. And Jessica says, I do my planning, but it all falls apart. I get that. Will this video be available next day? Yes, this video is available ongoing on this page. So definitely check out this and others. There's a lot to be watched on here. So let me see, I scrolled up too fast. Yes, Jessica, the ideas for planning for interruptions. I will tell you the year I planned for interruptions, the year before, we had so many of them that it was really difficult. One of them was my mom had a heart attack, and we live 400 miles away. And so I had to pack up everyone's school books. I literally packed up every book because it was frazzled. You don't expect a heart attack. And we drove 400 miles. My mom is alive and well, but we lived with her for 3 weeks, the children and I. And we brought all the books that they didn't need because I was in a frenzy. I just took everything on their shelf, not thinking about the ones they were in right now and the ones that weren't. I didn't know how long I was going to be gone. And so that's when I said, I've got to plan for interruptions. And that way I could just grab those things and move on and be okay. So that's where that all came. I think it's Plato that said that necessity is the mother of inventions. And we mamas have so many interruptions in our life. We have to plan for them. Honey, my biggest challenge with a type A personality is to substitute resources. The idea gives me permission. Yeah, I'll have to say we really struggle with the idea that digital things like DVDs and even television isn't learning, but learning. And if you guys get anything from me, I hope and pray it's this, because learning is decided by the person viewing or reading or listening is ideas. When you have wholesome ideas coming out of whatever's being consumed, then we know it's wholesome and we know it's worth doing and we know it's living. So when I realized that, I let go of just thinking I only have to plan for books, when there's so many resources out there of people who are passionate about the subject that would do far better than me, or a book that my children just are not being inspired by. So we use a lot of DVDs and television in our education, very particular ones. We have to be very careful with that. So give yourself permission and be resourceful when it comes to needed substitutes. Denise says, just getting in on this. Planning is my weakness. Thanks so much for the pointers. You're more than welcome, Denise. Jessica says, my weakness is planning ending ceremonies to us, something to look forward to. I'm telling you, burn those math books. Don't burn the living books, burn the math books. They have been one of the best things that we have ever done for our children, is allow that ceremony of and it came because we had a hard math year. And I was just like, you know what? It would be really good for him to just burn that math book. And since then it stuck. So, get out the marshmallows and have a bonfire that night, hot dogs on the stick, whatever it takes to just kind of like enjoy the end of the year. So, okay, so Sonia says, excited for the boot camp. Yay, I am too. Are you registered already? Tell me if you're registered. I'm going to assume, Sonia, that's registered. And the reason I say that is because you just earned 1 month because you mentioned the boot camp first. So I'm going to assume because you said you're so excited about it means that you have enrolled. So you are going to get a second full month for free starting in April. So I'll make sure to get that to you. I'm going to say your name again so I remember. Sonia Hicks. So just remember that, Sonia. I think, did we get 2 Hicks? Elizabeth, I think your last name's Hicks. So we got 2 Hicks getting that. Amy Green says, hey, I would love to know what you use for math. We use Math UC and a whole lot of living math. What I mean by that is oral math, checking in fact, practicing, as well as kitchen math. So we do a lot of that, building math, those types of things. So, but our curriculum is Math UC. And let's see. I'm super excited for the Smooth and Easy days. I've been working hard on that. Cannot wait to get that out. All right, Kendra says, love your thoughts. Thought out approach. I struggle and love the ideas. Well, that's what I hoped for. I'm hoping that you would definitely get inspired and realize that it's all about habits. When you plan for habits, you're going to just get better and better every year. I mean, who would have thought that the first couple of years that I started homeschooling Charlotte Mason, I literally took 3 months to plan one child, read all of the books, was so detailed and everything. And now I can do high school in 8 hours for one child. It just amazes me. It's all about habits. All right. Yes. Good, Sonia. That's yours. I'm enrolled already. Definitely worth the time. Every time I pick up something I just didn't catch the last time. Also, in general, repetition stuff sticks longer and longer. You are so right, Elizabeth. Definitely so. Stephanie says, wait, I just realized stuff. You know what? You're just having a really good day today. You just earned another month, Elizabeth H. That's a joke because we have a couple Elizabeths in our client coaching. So I have to add an H for her. But yes, so you just got a third month now just for sharing the takeaway from the boot camp. So thank you for sharing. All right. So let's see. I keep scrolling up so far. Okay, Resume. I think I'm saying it right. Resume. Glad to have you here. Looking forward to the 22nd for the boot camp. Yay, I cannot wait. Make sure you guys are getting the idea book for your kids because it's really good. And honey, thank you. I'm glad you're on. I was so inspired when I saw those ideas and I went with it. So thank you for sharing. And I just went crazy on it. I was like, oh, I'm so inspired. And so I just started writing and writing. Honey asks, how does one incorporate something new into their already detailed planned lessons? So from one type A mama to another, education is a life. So if you add something new, it's not to take away from, it's to add. That's what supplement is. Supplementing doesn't necessarily mean that you're taking away, you're adding. Right? You're supplementing could mean you're taking it away. So sometimes if you need to, you can use it in that way. But for us, we supplement often to add a little bit more and just bring a better overall learning experience. And to be careful not to make your kids think that learning happens in school hours, but is a lifetime. So, if you have an already detailed plans, but you find something that just flows perfectly with what you planned, use it as a supplement and just pull it in on a night or a weekend. We do that all the time. It's beautiful. So, just like this Monday night, I had been away. And so I came home on Sunday and Monday, Manoa and I were by ourselves. And so I'm like, let's turn on the fire and I'll read to you. And he's like, do I have to narrate? And I'm like, no, you don't have to narrate. So we had a good time by the fire. So it's supplement. It wasn't planned. It was just time with mom and son enjoying a book together. Amy, I'm glad this has been so good for you. Jessica says, my youngest keeps commenting on the new flowers. Yay, spring is coming. Yes, it's coming. And let me tell you, I can't wait to open my windows, and who cares about the pollen this year? I will deal with whatever symptoms I get and I will move on. So I'm just excited. Okay, I think I scrolled up too far. Okay, there we are. Gabby says, I'm going to put this up. Enroll in boot camp. I've done it before, and every time I pick up something that I didn't catch last time. Oh, Gabby, this was you. I don't know why I thought that was Elizabeth. Gabby, you get that. You get that second month. And you know what? I'm going to still honor it. Elizabeth, because I told you that. So Elizabeth, you get 2, and Gabby, you get 1 month free. So thank you. How do you feel about loop schedule? Oh, that's a whole nother show. That's another show. And you know what? I'll try to put that down, Stephanie. But that's something I can't really go into right now because that's a lot of topic. It's not a 1-sentence answer for me. Sonia says, love the concept of planning ahead for interruptions and having a backup plan for those days. Why didn't I think of those 9? You know what? We homeschool moms are overwhelmed. It's hard to think up all of those things, but necessity is the mother of interventions. And so there were times that I just had to plan for it. And thankfully, a lot of it was I found stuff at a book sales and said, you know, I don't have plans for this, but I don't want to miss this deal. This is really good. And so when we got sick, I'm like, oh, I can use those. So it all happened because life happened and I had the resources there. So that's pretty much where it is. Just enrolled in the boot camp. Amy, yay! I'm glad you enrolled. Guess what? You get a month free as well of Smooth and Easy Days. How exciting is that? Because you just said you enrolled for the first person to say on the comments that you enrolled. So congrats. Let me make sure I say your name again to remember. Amy Green. This is so funny. I guess it helps to not be a fly on the wall. Yes, it does. It really does. All right. So Kendra says, I value your approach because you seem to have the habits and skills and systems down to make the framework for living education to work in daily home life. This is what I need to establish. I have lots of ideas, but struggle with making it work. Kendra, I'm so glad you found me. And yes, 22 years, I'm telling you, reading those original pages again and again and again, I always find something new. And homeschooling this long, my son, my 18-year-old son said something the other day that made me remember, oh, I did do that. And guess what? It ended up happening to Manoa a little later in that day because it was perfect. And so I'm often reminded by my own children some things that I've done that has worked beautifully that I may have forgotten. So we need each other. That's the beauty of this. Yes, I'm so glad you said that, Gabby. I found my mistakes, and if not, I would have, but you both are getting it. So I don't know how I made that mistake, except for it's me and it's live. So we'll just go with that. I'm going through boot camp again. Jessica, yay. I really enjoyed it the first time. I learned a lot, and my husband will join me this time. Awesome. I cannot wait to hear how that goes. You know, for me, I'm going to end with this. I have loved everyone's interaction today. It has been a huge excitement for me to hear you guys coming and interacting with me. But I had to tell you, over the years of homeschooling and being in the homeschooling community, and particularly my experience with homeschool graduations and facilitating them, planning them and facilitating them for over 40 kids each year. In doing so, I often see comments, attitudes, division in couples because the mother has done so much and the husband has just been, going through the action, so to speak. Well, the fact is, husbands don't know how to get involved. And I realized that a few years ago when I was trying to explain to my own husband why I do something a certain way, that he does a little different. And so I thought, I'm going to explain to him this parenting philosophy with Charlotte Mason so that he can be on the same page as I am with this particular thing. And when I share that, he's like, wow, that is pretty smart. I wish I understood that a little sooner. And that's when it kind of hit me. Our husbands do far more than just afford us the opportunities to homeschool our children. They're the parents too, and their desire for their children's education is just the same as ours. They want excellence in education. They want a good future for our children. The best way to do that is when we're educating our children as a couple, when we're making decisions together, when we are involved in the decisions. And that all started years and years ago for us when I came home from a homeschool convention and spent hundreds of dollars on curriculum that my husband didn't know was going to be the result. I mean, he should have, because the year before we did, but I guess he didn't think that every year it was going to cost us much. So we weren't prepared in our budget. So that's when I said, you know what? I'm not having this stress of just planning curriculum by myself and then coming home exhausted from 3 days at a conference, walking around, and then have my husband saying, you spent what? So from that point on, my husband came with me. And we talked about what the budget was. I said, these are the musts, these are the desires, these are the let's look into ones. And we walked around that conference together, and we still spent the same amount, but we were on the same page. And when I saw that experience, I really encourage mamas, bring the dads in it. My husband now teaches some of the subjects for our children. And when I'm away, writing or what have you, my husband takes our son and he goes and does supplemental things with him that's not on his plans, because he has the time and the energy and effort to do so. So it is my desire to bring husbands into the community and help them understand Charlotte Mason better, and to be able to support the mamas, as well as have a clear vision of what this self-education looks like, because it looks so different, and to be able to help them. This video talk has been so encouraging and inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Sonia, you are more than welcome. I'm glad you took the time to be here live. Thanks for sharing. Tuning in from Malaysia. Awesome. Did I say your name right? Is it resume? I don't know. I try to remember names, so it matters to me. Okay. Thank you for adding components. I've been feeling the desire for my husband to take a more active role in planning and implementing our homeschooling. And it is a desire that we all should have. Gabby says, I was heartbroken when you said, a mom at graduation ceremony did not want her husband to participate in the son's graduation because he didn't participate. Yeah, right. And so sometimes when we do the hard work, it's hard to recognize what other people have afforded for us to do that. And so, but thankfully, my little comment made her change her mind, and her husband was on stage with her the next day. So sometimes we have to be reminded, oh yeah, I'm doing this hard work because my husband supports us in it. But it's a desire of mine to change that and let our husbands just be a part of our homeschooling decisions, implementing, and rewards. It's all important. My light bulb came on. Husbands don't mess up routines. It's that. Yes, they're just not including in our plans. And it's true. It's true. Sounds like you've gone through my routine approach, Jessica, because I talk very much about that in there. All right, y'all. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Sorry, I said 20 minutes and we're in 45 minutes, but I think I covered the topic in 20 minutes, but I've loved the fact that y'all have interacted with me longer. It's the joy to come on here live, and I'm so excited about the rebrand. If you haven't visited the new site yet, you need to. CharlotteMasonMastery.com. I really break it up. Charlotte Mason is 4 actions that you need to do. You need to discover your child. You need to also discover some things about your family. We're going to talk about that over a long time. These are ongoing content. The second one is form. You need to form habits in you, your husband, and your children. The third one is supply. You need to supply daily ideas. And the fourth one is you need to master empowering your children towards self-education. So if you keep those 4 actions in your head every day, mamas, you're on the right road. So I'm real excited about it. It's nothing like simplifying 6 volumes of Charlotte Mason into 4 words, but truly they are the 4 words. So just keep them in your mind at all times. If you have to write them down and post them somewhere to remind you, do so. But they're simple when you follow those 4 things. All right. If you haven't signed up, one more time, charlottemasonmastery.com/bootcamp. It starts Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's community going on, and also the hub where all the replays are going to be posted. So you want to follow along. If you can't show up live, I hope you can. It'll be very active like this. So show up live if you can. If you can't, there's the replays. Sonia, I love the fact that you just asked, do you have posts or materials about organizing a graduation celebration? Well, I may as well let the cat out of the bag here. When the framework opens, it's going to be opening in a whole new light, because over the years I have coached a whole lot of women in different areas with different children. And one of them is a new addition to the framework, a second layer, so to speak. It's called preparing college and career planning framework. So that is where I talk a whole lot about what's needed to prepare your children in their middle school and high school experience to be able to be really prepared for adulthood. And I do talk about that in there. So definitely so. All right, you all. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you for being on. Thank you for interacting. And I will be reaching out to those ladies that have earned a 1 month free, additional 1 month free. And again, it won't be available until April, so be watching for that. Next week, there is no show because we're going to be involved in the boot camp. So you want to be there. Be there, be there. Otherwise, put Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your calendar. I come live almost every Wednesday. I've taken some breaks here and there because I've needed to schedule-wise, but when it permits, I'm live. So I hope you're there with me next time. Get into the boot camp, and I'll see you there. Bye for now.